Da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum. What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to check out Little Red Riding Hood from Yellow. This is for ages 7 plus for 1 to 5 players. It'll take you about 20 minutes to play. And this is actually the 5th game in the Tales and Games series, where they take an old classic fable and turn it into a game. And this one, you're going to be taking control of Little Red Riding Hood. You cooperatively will be taking control of Little Red Riding Hood, trying to get to Grandma's house before the Big Bad Wolf in a push-your-luck style game. But there also is a more advanced version of the game in which one person is going to be taking control of the Big Bad Wolf and trying to race to Grandma's house to eat her. It's the first game in the series that actually has solo gameplay. Does it hold up to the snuff to the rest of the games? I think that was a sentence. Let's open it up, check it out. Alright, then we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Little Red Riding Hood from Yellow. So first and foremost, we have our handy-dandy rule booklet. I'd say it's about 8-9 pages, double-sided, full of color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, all the stuff you like to see in a well-done rule booklet. And it is, in fact, a well-done rule booklet, so big thumbs up on that. Next, you're going to get, as you will in this series of games, a tale about Little Red Riding Hood. And it is the nice one that I actually like, where the wolf actually does eat Little Red Riding Hood, and they cut him up and all that sort of stuff. It's a perfectly good tale, and your kids will enjoy reading it. So that's a big thumbs up right there as well. So in Little Red Riding Hood, there are going to be 2 modes of play. I'm going to go over both of them, because they're both relatively simple. And essentially in Little Red Riding Hood, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to race to Grandma's house, and you're going to be racing the wolf. In the first version of the game, which I'm going to explain, the game is completely cooperative. Everyone is going to take turns, and the wolf is going to be controlled by no one. It's just going to be played by the game. I'll mention the more advanced version of the game in a second, but let's go over the components, then we'll get a little bit into the gameplay. So first and foremost, I do want to mention that you have some nice little trees that will improve the ambiance, but they are completely unnecessary, so I'm actually going to set them to the side so I can show you the board. So first we have our 2 nice chunky little wooden pieces. We got the Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf, and we got the board right here, which is going to be depicting the woods that the Little Red Riding Hood is going through. To start off in a hard game, she's going to start here, and in an easy game, she's going to start there. Well, not so easy, because it still is difficult. And the wolf is always going to start right here, and you're going to be going down to get to Grandma's house. Now, you're not sure which spot is going to be Grandma's house. Those are actually done by these randomizer tokens right here. 3 of them will have paths like this, and 1 of them will have Grandma's house. So you're never actually going to know where Grandma's house is until you stumble upon it. Little Red Riding Hood, on the other way, is going to be going the long way to get there. But you might notice that she can jump onto the wolf's path down here. But that is high risk, high reward, because if the wolf catches up to her, then you instantly lose the game. Everyone who's playing instantly loses the game. So we got our randomizer tokens. We'll just randomly bloop, 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 set them out here. We'll set our Little Red Riding Hood up on the green spot, set the wolf right here, and we'll go into some more of the components. There's a bunch of components down here. I'm not going to go into those because those are the advanced versions of the game. You have these 2 little guys right here. This is the pie and butter, I think it is, or something like that. And essentially, once per game, you'll be able to eat one of these and move ahead 1 space. And you probably will need these because it is difficult, but that lowers your score. Even though, honestly, most times we play, we're just fighting to survive in this game. So next, you're going to have this little handy-dandy card right here, which is going to tell you exactly how many of each card are in the deck and how many flowers and stones there are. And that will make sense in a second. Flowers and stones are over here, and they're going to be double-sided, or they're going to be one-sided. So there's the flowers, there's the stone. If you see a flower, that's good, because that means you're going to move a space. If you see a stone, that stinks, because that means you're not going to move a space. You have a basket right here, which is really not that necessary for the game, but it is aesthetically pleasing, and it makes the game a little bit more thematic, so I do like it. And then we get to the cards, which are the stars of the show. They're going to be numbered 0 through 8, and as I mentioned, there's going to be a set number of each of them. There are 3 special cards in here. First is the 0, which is bad. Generally, if you ever see this, unless it's the very first card, you're instantly going to be screwed over, and the wolf is going to move ahead 1 spot. You have the 7, which is very useful, because that is going to mean that you're going to be able to look at the bottom card of the deck, and that will make more sense in a second. And then you have the best card, which is the 8, which means Little Red Riding Hood is going to start running. This can really help you out in certain situations and really tick you off in other situations. But you'll understand a little bit more of that when we show you the gameplay. So to start off the game, you're going to put your cards over here and move the camera just a smidge. You're going to put the cards over there, and you're going to reveal the first card. Any card you reveal, the first card is not going to hurt you at all. So we have a 2. We'll put it right there. You also get these numbers right here to help show you how far along you are in the process. They're okay. They're better for the kids. That I like having them there for the kids since they do have the numbers. But as you can see, there are 2 flowers right here, which means you're going to have put 2 of these randomly face down from here onto that card. Because as we mentioned, these might be stones or these might be flowers. So now the next person, or the first person, is going to decide. Do they think the next card is revealed is going to be larger than or equal to the number of cards that have already been revealed? So right now, the only card that would hurt us would be a 0, because an equal would be 1 card. This number does not matter right now. It only matters the next card. So this would be a terrible example. This would be really bad, and it's a good example to start with, though. So unfortunately, the wolf has come and we have gotten screwed over. We don't get to look at these. These instantly go into the basket. These 2 cards go back up top right here, face down, and then we start over again. But the thing is, whenever you fail, the wolf is going to move 1 space. So on your turn, you're only going to have 2 actions. The action is to keep going or to stop. So let's show you a little bit more of a mock hand. So we got our 3 there. We got 1 flower on there, so that's a decent start. It's the low number. Obviously, there's no more wolves in the game, we can see, so there's only 1 wolf. So we know we're completely safe right now, so reveal it. And it's a 1, which is great, because we got to put 3 flowers right there. Boom, 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 boom. So at this point, the next person, because you're going to be doing this one at a time, one person, then the other person, then the other person, is going to decide, do they think the next card is going to be a 2 or higher? We're definitely going to push our luck right now, and we're going to say, boom. And we got a 7. So not the best card in the world, but it's still a good card. So we're going to look at the bottom card of the deck, and we see that this time it is a 3. So that's useful information. So now we have to decide, do we want to push our luck or do we want to stop? And we're going to push our luck one more time, I think. So we push our luck, and we got ourselves a 5. Yes! Super useful. So now the next person will decide, do we think that we can get another number that is going to be higher than a 4? And you know what? We're going to push it. We're going to push our luck one more time. Just one more, then we're done. And it is a 4. It's super lucky. Yes, so at this point you might actually want to start looking at the card to try and figure it out, but when we play with kids, we normally don't. So now, do I think the next card is going to be higher than a 5? And at this point, I gotta go, right? I gotta go. So we're going to go, and it is a 5. Holy moly. So I'm doing really well. I never do this well at all, actually. So at this point, we probably would stop, even though the 8 is in here. So how this works is they say, I'm going to stop. So when you stop, the wolf instantly moves 1 space, no matter what. Bloom. And now you're going to reveal everything you've got, and you're going to move ahead that number of flowers, which is, we're up to 3, 4. Wow, that's a great start. So we get to move ahead 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for argument's sake, I'm going to show you how the number 8 card works as well. So let's just say the number 8, wow, we would have really got lucky there. So let's just say we continue going forward, we don't know what these are, and we draw the next card. It has to be higher than a 6, and it is an 8, which would be great. So how this works is, Little Red Riding Hood is now running. We reveal all these once again, and these are going to stay face up now. And you would instantly move that many spaces. Without stopping, you would instantly move that many spaces. So now we would get to move ahead 5 spaces, which we already did. Now the next person would say, do I think the number is going to be higher than a 7? At this point, obviously, there's only 1 8. You would not do that, so you would then stop, and then you would get to move ahead that many spaces again. So you get to move ahead 5 more spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are really flying right now. So we got extremely lucky at this point. All these tiles would then go bloop, face down right here. We'd rinse, wash, and repeat. Whenever you run out of these cards right here, you grab the pile from up here, and you do it again. Likewise, whenever you run out of these tiles right here, you take the ones out of the basket, and continue doing that. And the first person to get to Grandma's house, which in this case is right here, would be the winner of the game. Either since it is cooperative, either everyone wins or everyone loses. So now, let's get into the more advanced version of the game. And there's a couple things that it changes. The big one is that now someone is actually going to be controlling the wolf. So they are going to be deciding which cards they play down, which really gets pretty interesting because they know exactly what cards they have, and you know exactly what cards they have, so you're trying to outthink and outguess the other player. Next, you're going to replace the old 7, because obviously you can't peek at the bottom card of the deck because, well, they're going to be playing whatever card they want, whenever they want. You now get the trap card in his hand. When the wolf plays the trap card, what is going to happen is the wolf is going to immediately go back 1 space, which is incredibly useful. Another big change is that you're going to get these 4 character cards right here. Now, in a 2-player game, so if one person is controlling the wolf and one person is controlling Cinderella, you get 2 of them. However, normally you'd only get 1 of them, and they have some really useful special abilities, which are actually on these iconography, which is really kind of confusing when you're first looking at it, but actually, once you understand what's going on, it's really quite simple. So first, you have the Lumberjack. And the Lumberjack is going to allow you to take all the stacks that you had, so let's just say you had this and this and this, and you're going to be able to put all that with all the flowers on one stack, which can be really, really beneficial. Next you have, what is this? Peter. He draws the cards from the wolf hands and adds it to the gathering in progress. The value of this card cannot cause the gathering to fail, and Peter gets to place the appropriate gathering tokens on the card. That's really useful because obviously, if you draw something really well, that can really help. But at the same time, it is random in that aspect. Next you have Little Thumb, which actually has a delayed power. This one's pretty interesting. Throughout the gathering process, when you stop gathering or play the Little Red Riding Hood card, each gathering token depicting a pebble allows you to move forward one spot. So it's like, even if maybe you have 2 pebbles down there, you still get to move forward 2 spaces. Last but not least, we have the Hunter, which makes him discard his 0 card, because that's his most powerful card. But on the flip side, what's going to happen is, once you use this special ability, the wolf gets the card back, and then they gain these special abilities right here. And these ones are going to allow him to do various different things. Retrieve 1 card from his discard pile. Eat 2 gathering tokens, which potentially could be flowers, but it is random, so they don't know. This one's going to make the Red Riding Hood go back 1 space. And this one is going to look at one of these spots right here and then potentially switch it with a different spot, so they can move Grandma's house closer to themselves. The other difference is, now, in the original game, you only had 2 options. Your first option was either to stop or to keep going. In this one, you can stop, you can keep going, you can play your special action card, or, other thing that is different, is that you have the option, you're going to put the Little Red Riding Hood card right here, and you can play that whenever you want, but you're still only going to play it once every time you go through the cards. So that, in a nutshell, is how Little Red Riding Hood is played. Alright, Little Red Riding Hood from Yellow. What are my final thoughts? Go to the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game is not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. It is cooperative, which is not going to scratch everybody's back. And it's the kind of cooperative that it doesn't absolutely need to be cooperative. I feel like it plays really well as a 2-player game, especially in the advanced mode. In the cooperative mode, because essentially you're just doing the same thing and you're just all controlling one character, and some people aren't going to like that. Also, the Tortoise and the Hare in particular plays really, really well as a light filler game. This one, not so much. I busted it out on game night, and it got a lukewarm reception. People didn't hate it. People didn't really like it that much. It was just, it was okay. It definitely falls more into the family weight category and kids weight category, but you kind of should expect that because it is shaped like a giant Little Red Riding Hood book, I guess. Continuing on with the cons, some people, especially my game night, had a problem with the fact that there were unnecessary components in the box. They didn't like the fact there were trees and the basket thing or whatever. I personally disagree with that con. I think it really adds to the story and the theme. And I know the kids in my class really liked setting up the trees. They thought that was really cool. So I'm going to treat that as a pro. But some people are going to be like, why did they add that extra components in there? I'm just going to raise the price of the game, blah, blah, blah. Another con I have with the game is it is one of the magnetic box, which I really hate the magnetic boxes because they pop open sometimes and all the components fall out. This one's not as bad as the Tortoise and the Hare, though, because it does have the board, which will mitigate that somewhat. But that's really a small nitpick. Any other cons that I have with the game? Not really that I can think of. I pretty much think you're going to know what you're getting with this game. It is for kids and for family, and it has the bonus of having a light filler game. At least that's my personal opinion on it. Moving on to the pros, I highly recommend Little Red Riding Hood if you are in the market for a kids or a family game. What do I like about this game? It says ages 7+, poppycock. Ignore that. I played this in my classroom with 3 to 5-year-olds. They loved it. Now, they were pretty bad at it, which made the game very, very difficult, but they still had a blast with this game. And that's 3-year-olds playing this game. It's just, do you think this is going to be bigger or less than this? And I like that. As a preschool teacher, obviously, I love the number sense, the higher than, lower than. So that's a great little thing right there. Also, solo gameplay. A lot of people don't think about this, but I wanted to try it out. I taught this 5-year-old. He played like 4 or 5 times with me over a week. And then I said, all right, you want to play it by yourself? And he played it by himself. He understood it by himself. He got crushed, but he still played it by himself, and he had a blast. And I think that's something that needs to be in more kids' games, because I know when I was a kid, personally, I played tons of games, Monopoly and Battleship and Risk, well, you're not wrist sliding, Clue. I used to play them by myself, and I feel like that's a very valuable thing to have in a kid's game. So it's a fantastic kids game, and it's also a very fun family game that I highly recommend for a couple of reasons. First, it's just fun. It's cooperative, everybody loses together, everybody wins together, and I like that, especially with kids that don't like to lose. But the other great thing about this game is it's going to give you a lot of years. That's one problem I have with a lot of kids/family games, is that they're going to outgrow the game in like a year or two. Not with this game. You're going to get a lot of mileage out of this game because they can play that kids game and they can start playing that at a very young age. And then, once they really get a grasp of the game, you can move on to the more advanced version of the game where someone takes control of the wolf. Because all you really need to know is your special abilities, your personal one special ability. So say, all right, on your turn, once per round, you're going to be able to do this. Or once per time the cards go through, you're going to be able to do the special ability if you want to do the special ability. And gradually, the kids are going to learn better how to do that. I had some of my 5-year-olds playing with the special abilities. Once again, they were pretty bad at it, but they understood it, and they really liked the special ability cards. So overall, yeah, Little Red Riding Hood is a fantastic kids game, a fantastic family weight game, and it's just an added bonus to me that you can play it as a filler game on a game night, so that's always a good thing. So the real question that lays, where do I rank this in the Tales and Games series? Now, unfortunately, I have only played 3 of the 5 games. I know I'm a little bit of a slacker. I really want to pick up the other 2. I have Baba Yaga, I have Tortoise and the Hare, and now I have this. So where would I rank it? I'm going to put Baba Yaga at number 3. I like it, but I only played it in my classroom. It went over pretty poorly at game night. So it is purely in the kid/family game category. I feel like I'm going to put Tortoise and the Hare number 2, mostly because I don't play that with the kids in my class. That's for older kids, and for me personally, I like stuff that I can play with the kids in my class. So this is my number 1. It is a fantastic family game, it is a fantastic children's game, and it's just icing on the cake that you can still bust it on game night if you're lacking some filler games. So that is Little Red Riding Hood from Yellow, yet another home run from Yellow. Love this game. If you're in the market for a lightweight game like this for kids or for families, be sure to check it out when it comes out. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below and then in the comments below. Let me know what was your favorite children's book growing up. Me personally, it was the R.L. Stine Goosebumps books, and I always loved the Berenstein Bears too. I would love to see a great game done about the Berenstein Bears. I'm pretty sure it's never going to happen though. But in the comments below, let me know what was your favorite book when you were a kid. As always, thanks for your time, YouTube. That was the review for Little Red Riding Hood. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bauer's Game Corner.